So here I am once again in Pokémon Scarlet as a hardcore Nuzlocke with grass types only and Knuckles, Deluxe, or something, I don't know. Can't believe it's been almost 3 months. This time around I'll be doing the Indigo disc, and I mean, it's only a couple of fights, it can't be that long. It took me 4 days. For literally 8 fights. Jesus Christ. At the bottom left there's the Pokémon that I have. It's a couple, and top right is those that did not make the cut, or more accurately, I threw him in front of a very angry monkey and shit got wild. Rest in Pepperoni Maple. I definitely did not have to look up his name, by the way. I swear I remembered. If you're wondering why there's this separation in the box, the ones at the bottom are over-leveled. The Tail Mask has some wacky fights, but the beginning can't be that hard, right? Also, I'm allowing overpong. If you disagree, you can leave your comment crying, press Ctrl W and leave. And if you don't care or are on board with it, good, I like you, and you can stay. Except those that like her a little too much. You are creepy and I don't like you either. I won't be translating her though. I feel like that's a little overkill, and I don't support setting up. Thanks to a plot armor thicker than Gojo's. Too soon? I somehow got invited again to study abroad, this time in Blueberry Academy, the same academy from where the racist tsundere and the average toxic BF came from. When I arrived there, it turns out the entire academy is an artificial island, and there's a terrarium underwater called the Terrarium. Clever, get it? It's a terrarium, but there's... never mind. It is also completely submerged underwater, and not gonna lie, I would be terrified to be down here. I'd be in constant fear that the thing would burst like a balloon, and I'd end up drowning. The terrarium is divided in 4 parts, the savanna, canyon, coastal, and polar biomes. This time around I'll be catching only 1 Pokémon per area because I think I definitely have enough. In the Savannah area, I got an Execute named Coconut, and immediately evolved it into an Executor. Then in the coastal area, I got a Cotony, my second favorite Pokemon, which still feels surreal. It was my favorite since Generation 5, and I can't believe it isn't the case anymore. Also, the irony that I got it with my new favorite Pokemon. His name is Dandelion, and I lost no time and evolved it into a beautiful Whimsicott. That we'll be doing the usual Whimsicott shenanigans. Last was an Alolan Executor in the coastal biome as well. This one wasn't for me to use, but for the quest that requires you to catch one to progress in the story, so it'll be staying in the PC. After the class, Carmine contacts me for a battle and to talk about her brother Kieran. She's supposedly stronger, but with less Pokemon she goes down pretty easy. I guess it is time to mention that most major fights in this part of the DLC are double battles, which are most of the time a lot harder than single battles, and honestly more fun to plan around as well. They usually end as simple as have that one Pokemon that walls their entire team, or chain pivot every time they send a new Pokemon. About Kieran, I hope I didn't give him depression, I just wanted to make him less of a whiny bitch. Yes. This girl looks like a mop now. Never mind, bully him harder. I mean, he has become the champion of the academy, so it hasn't been all bad for him, I guess. Look at those baggy eyes though, dude sleeps worse than me, and that's saying a lot. He's no longer a whiny bitch either, but now he's kinda toxic in the league player way instead of the stalker way, which is definitely worse. Somehow I respect him even less. Bro looks so goofy when he smiles like that too. Now that I can unlock the status upgrade for the terrarium, I head back to catch more Pokemon before challenging the BB Elite Four. In the Chargestone Cavern, I found a Chespin and gave it the very original nickname of Chestnut. In the Canyon biome, I got a Trico that I named Bush. I did not have a better idea. Those were all the Pokemon that I could catch in the DLC, so time for the Elite Four. I mentioned before that all of these fights will be double battles, but there's even more. All of their Pokemon will have items equipped, from Focus Sash to berries and even Life Orb or Assault Vest. They will also use more team tactics like Tailwind, Screens, Helping Hand or Entry Hazards. And while I don't have the exact numbers, I can guarantee that some of, if not all of their Pokemon are EV trained and with good natures. First in line is the Fire-type Elite for Crispin, because, well, he is the weakest at level 79, while the others are at level 80, but before challenging him, I head back to Paldea and buy an ability capsule to change Dandelion's ability to Prankster. We have a very bad matchup to start, and I can't use half of my Pokemon. Yippee! That being said, it was surprisingly a lot easier than I expected, albeit it took a lot of time to figure out. Crispin starts with his Talonflame and Rotom hit, and I send Ogerpon and Whimsicott. I don't want Talonflame setting up Sunny Day for the Solar Beaming Executor in the back, or to power any of his other Pokemon Fire-type moves, really. That's where Whimsicott comes in. With a Focus Sash, she will take any one hit, and even though he's slower than Talonflame, thanks to his Prankster ability, I can go for a Tailwind before him. The AI will see the kill on Whimsicott with Talonflame, so it'll attack instead of using Sunny Day, ideally with Brave Bird instead of Flare Blitz, to avoid the 10% burn. This will also break Talonflame's Focus Sash due to the recoil. That's kind of what happens. As Ogerpon bonks Rotom out of existence with a Rock-type Ivy Cudgel, Talonflame goes for a Flare Blitz into Ogerpon for some reason, but he can always take that and thankfully no burn. I don't know why he did that though. Next is Sense Executor. It can do much with a Solar Beam that isn't under the sun. Expecting either a Solar Beam into Ogerpon or a Psyshock into Whimsicott, I swapped Whimsicott into Oak the Shiftry, who would be immune to Psyshock. Ogerpon smacks Talonflame with another Ivy Cudgel for the KO, and since Ivy Cudgel isn't a contact move, I'm safe from Flame Body. Pause for a moment. I still can't believe one of the best Rock-type moves, one of the few with perfect accuracy in the game, is exclusive to a Grass-type Pokemon. This is fucked up. The Executor ends up going for a Solar Beam, which isn't the best outcome, but not a problem either. Camerupt comes out next, and I use a Spiky Shield with Ogerpon to protect her from the incoming Solar Beam, and use Fake Out on Camerupt to basically skip to the next turn, when a combination of an Ivy Cudgel into a Terra boosted Grass Knot combo destroys Camerupt, while Executor just starts to charge another Solar Beam as the Tailwind expires. In comes Magmortar, and I double protect to avoid the incoming Solar Beam and Heat Wave. The next turn, I go for the Ivy Cudgel one-shot into Magmortar, and a Life Orb boosted X Scissors with Oak that leaves Executor in the red, as it charges another Solar Beam. Last is Blaziken, but after repeating the same turn again, with an Ivy Cudgel for Blaziken and an X Scissors for Executor, both go down, and we win our first Elite match. After the double cap rises to level 80, most of the Pokemon that I couldn't use before are now just at the level cap, with this 4 still over it at level 81. Next I decided to challenge the Steel type specialist Amarys. I hate to admit that I needed hours to plan out this fight, and I don't exactly know why. Maybe I'm just losing brain cells too fast. She leads with an Alolan Dugtrio with a Focus Sash, and the Skarmory with a Sturdy. Unfortunately, Skarmory is bulky enough to take a Fire-type Ivy Cudgel, which was my original plan, to bypass Sturdy with Mold Breaker, so I had to get a little more creative. I started with Oak and Jalapeno the Scovillain. The former has equipped a Cherry Berry, which allows him to survive even a crit Stone Edge from a Alolan Dugtrio. But first is a Fake Out with Shiftry to break Skarmory's Sturdy, as Dugtrio goes for Earthquake instead of a Stone Edge, but it's fine, as Jalapeno would have also survived a crit, and is able to set up Sunny Day, activating Chlorophyll on both of my Pokemon. Unfortunately, Scovillain does not learn Heat Wave for some reason. You learn something new every day. With a Kingsork equipped, Shiftry goes for a Fling on Dugtrio, breaking her Focus Sash and flinching her this time around, as Jalapeno melts Skarmory in a millisecond with a Flamethrower. In comes Scissor, and this turn I use an attack that I don't think I've ever used before, not even considered, Beat Up. But with such a team filled with high attack stat Pokemon, and Among Us, it has a base power higher than 100 with no drawback, destroying Dugtrio. Meanwhile, Scissor gets obliterated by a Flamethrower as Skarmory did before her. Yeah buddy, that Rock Berry is not saving you from shit. With both of our Pokemon down, Amarys sends Reuniclus and Empoleon next, so I double swap into Mycelium, my Brute Bonnet, which gets an attack boost from Photosynthesis, and Ogerpon. As I expected, Empoleon goes for Ice Beam into what was Shiftry to hit super effectively, and takes a chunk from Season, who doesn't need to worry about a freeze thanks to the sun, and knowing that Reuniclus wouldn't go for Shiftry with Psychic, it was completely safe, and its attacks do nothing to Brute Bonnet, as Psychic doesn't even affect. Even under the sun, Ivy Cudgel doesn't hit quite hard enough, so I focus Empoleon with a Sucker Punch first and then finish her with the Big Bonk. Reuniclus goes for Trick Room as Metagross enters the field, and the sun goes away. She immediately slices her Metagross into a pure Steel type, as I go for a Spiky Shield with Ogerpon, knowing that they would focus her with both Psychic and Zen Headbutt, with Metagross also getting hurt by Spiky Shield, as Brute Bonnet goes for a Spore. While it was a nice Spiky Shield, I want to get her out of here as soon as possible, so I brought Shiftry back in, who is immune to Psychic, but Reuniclus went for Protect, meaning that my Sucker Punch also did nothing. At this point, I'm trying to position myself, so I retrieved Brute Bonnet and brought back Ogerpon, knowing that nothing would hit her there, and used Fake Out on Metagross as it woke up. This back and forth continued for a while, until I found myself in a position to bring in Brillium as Reuniclus took down the Trick Room and Metagross was sleeping. Here I got a little greedy and went for close combat, thinking that at this range it would kill, but unfortunately I was wrong, and Metagross survived with the smallest of his levers, woke up and went for Sing Headbutt, which was luckily targeted at the Brute Bonnet, as Reuniclus Psychic brings Mushroom to his sash. Now I can swap Brilliant back into Shift Tree to avoid another Psychic, as a Sucker Punch finishes Metagross, and then Reuniclus goes down. Eventually, not before wasting 4 minutes of my life. Very cool, Reuniclus. Next is Lacey and her fairy types, and to be honest, I'm surprised that I don't have more grass and poison Pokemon, and only have Victory Bell. That being said, I did pass on 2 in this video, so I guess it makes sense. It took me a while to get a hold of this fight, but I realized that I don't need to start so violent, aggressive, and with murderous intents, and instead start with a double support duo. Also, the entire team over-leveled after the last fight. I hate the XP charm, you're forced to get it, and there's no way to turn it off. Thank you, Carmine. Lacey's Whimsicott will just outspeed mine, no matter what I do, because she doped hers with Carbos, and we don't do IVs in this household, so I opted for something else. She went for Light Screen as I expected, and I responded with an Anchor to lock her into using Light Screen for 3 turns. Welcome to the real world, Lacey. This is how you use Whimsicott. You must inflict as much mental pain as possible to your opponent. The AI prioritizes 4-time weaknesses, so I went with Endure with Jumpluff, tanking the incoming Ice Punch from Grumble with 1 HP. It did freeze him, but it doesn't really matter, as his health eject button activates anyways, allowing me to bring in Victory with no attack drop from Intimidate. While her Whimsicott is trapped using Light Screen, mine can go for a Sunny Day to increase Victoryl's speed with Chlorophyll. Tailwind was an option here, but it has a shorter duration, and I only need the speed on Victreebel. I wasted no time and terrestrialized Victreebel to boost her poison type moves, as a poison jab one-shots Grumble. In comes Galarian Slowbro, and again, since the AI prioritizes 4-time weaknesses, I know a Shell Side Arm is coming in Whimsicott's way, so I swapped into Torterra, as Slowbro takes a knockoff from Victreebel, losing half her HP and her Citrus Berry. Shell Side Arm doesn't even do that much damage to Torterra, as next turn, both of them can attack with a combination of knockoff and headlong rush for the KO. However, Whimsicott's Anchor does wear off this turn, as Lacey sends in her Primarina. I retrieve Torterra to send Whimsicott back in, as the opposing Whimsicott takes the opportunity and goes for Tailwind. However, since the sun is still up, Victreebel still outspeeds, and a single poison jab is enough for Primarina. Next is Alcremie, but first I did the same thing from the beginning of the battle, and as Lacey's Whimsicott outsped and went for Light Screen, I used Anchor to lock her once more. And since the sun is still up, another poison jab also one-shots Alcremie, but the sun does end now. Last is Excadrill, who is immediately terrestrialized into a fairy type. I double protect to scout what he's trying to do, and unfortunately it was Iron Head, as if it had been high horsepower, the fight would have been basically over, because next turn I switch out Victory into Trevenant, as a crit Ironhead would have killed her, and went for Anchor with Whimsicott, who thanks to Focus Sash can take the hit. Next I went for Protect to keep baiting the attack on that side of the field, and use Will-O-Wisp to reduce Excadrill's damage. Whimsicott's Anchor also ends here. Then I swapped Torterra in Whimsicott's place, and honestly, the combination of Ironhead and Moonblast did a lot more than I expected, considering Torterra has an Assault Vest here, as I also land a Leech Seed on Excadrill. Now, with a switch into Executor to take the hits, barely, Trevenant goes for a Poltergeist, leaving Excadrill in the red, but the burn and the Leech Seed damage finished the job, and after switching into Victreebel one final time, we is able to take all of Whimsicott's attacks, the battle is finally over, and the third member of the Elite Four is down. We also received this very cute picture here. Once again, most of the team over-leveled, excluding Jumpluff and Executor, and for the next Elite Trial, I need to use only Pokemon that I caught in the Terrarium, but Executor barely did not level up, so I can't use it there, which meant that I had to evolve Chestnut into Chestnut, confusing, and push into Sceptile, and they cleaned up the challenge pretty easily. The last one was arguably the hardest, although I'm having my doubts between Drayton and his Dragon types and Amarys and her Steel types, but let's focus on the battle at hand. I followed a similar strategy to the previous fight here, starting with Abomasnow and Jumpluff against his Flygon and Dragonite. I don't want Dragonite setting up Tailwind, so I need to place a juicy kill in front of him. It's Jumpluff again. Also, this Flygon is quite literally max speed, so I started by terrestrializing Abomasnow into an Ice type, and went for a Life Orb boosted, Terra boosted priority Ice Shard for the one-shot, and I needed all of that or it wouldn't kill and leave Flygon with a Sliver. Now Jumpluff can go for a Tailwind and eat an Ice Spinner thanks to a Health Focus Sash. In comes Axorus, and as much as I would like to break his Focus Sash with a U-turn, an Extreme Speed is coming in Jumpluff's way, so I swapped out into Sarina, who is immune thanks to her Queenly Majesty ability. A Blizzard leaves Axorus on his sash, and even through Multiscale and a Yachi Berry, it still does almost half on Dragonite. It also happens to freeze, but it really doesn't matter. Then Haxorus goes for an Earthquake for some reason. Unexpected, but it hardly makes a difference, as Abomasnow would have lived even a crit Iron Head thanks to the snow defense boost. Now with a Tropical Kick and a Blizzard, both of them fall, making Drayton send his King Grand Sceptile next. For your information, Abomasnow does not learn Freeze Ray for some reason. Again, the more you know, so you have to risk the 1% miss with Sarina and Play Rough, who has Wildlands equipped. Thankfully, she doesn't miss, taking half of Kindra's HP, and Abomasnow can have a double kill with Blizzard. Lacey's Archaludon, who terrestrializes into a pure Dragon type, and knowing it'll go for the super effective Flash Cannon on Abomasnow, I swapped in Toadscrew in Saina's place and went for a Protect with Abomasnow. However, the snow does stop now, but by using Rage Powder, I can redirect the incoming Flash Cannon, which does around half to Toadscrew and hit a Terra Blast that leaves Archaludon in the red. Finally, an Ice Shard takes out Archaludon, and we defeat the last Elite Four member. Of course, Kieran came immediately after and was quite cocky, saying that he would defeat me. Buddy, I can see those legs shaking from here. That champion seat is mine, just like the one back in Paldea and just like Ogerpon. But before the fight, I need to find a very important item, an ability patch, which unlike normal ability capsules, changed the Pokemon's ability to its hidden ability, and they have so many options. Protean Meowscarada, Technician Brillium, Regenerator Abungus. There's so many choices, but I'll leave the answer for the battle. If you're wondering how did I even get so many materials for the printer to obtain this, let's just say that don't expect anything for Christmas this time around. This joke doesn't even work anymore. I took too much time to make this video. Oh yeah, speaking of all those Pokemon, everyone is now useful by the way. The full gang is back, baby! Dude, your hair looks like a mop. Yours is a nice bush. Ever grown some berries? Take that back. The battle starts with Dragonite and Politoed on his side, and Abomasnow and Ludicolo on mine. Politoed sets up the rain with his Drizzle ability, perfect for my Ludicolo with Swift Swim, and here you can see what I used my ability patch on. This is probably the first and only time that you'll see someone purposely using Soundproof Abomasnow, because I just don't want to override the rain with snow. First I terrestrialize my Ludicolo into a pure water type and go for a fake out into Dragonite to break his multi-scale. The Terra is to take less damage from Politoed's Ice Beam, which thankfully doesn't freeze, and then an Ice Beam from Abomasnow destroys Dragonite, avoiding a possible Tailwind. Porygon C comes out next, and Politoed loses no time going for the Helping Hand. An Adaptability Life for boosted Hyper Beam would, let's just say, hurt, but I give Porygon C no opportunity, as a 100 base power aim boosted Weather Ball obliterates him, and a Wood Hammer from Abomasnow takes over half from Politoed. In comes Incineroar, but I think what happens to him is pretty self-explanatory. An Ice Beam from Politoed takes a chunk from Abomasnow, activating his health Citrus Berry, and another big bong sends Politoed to the afterlife. Last are Grimmsnarl and his Ace Hydrapple. Sick Pokemon by the way. I swapped Ludicolo into Ogerpon and Abomasnow into Matcha de Sinistcha. He then gets mad at me for bringing Ogerpon. Did I do it in purpose? Yes. Kieran then terrestrializes his Hydrapple into a fighting type. Jesus Christ, he looks so dead inside here. Grimmsnarl goes for a priority reflect thanks to Prankster, and Hydrapple goes for his signature move, Fecal Beam, an 80 base power move with a 30% chance to double the power, and even with the weaker version, it almost killed Match in one shot. Not to worry though, it has a Focus Sash. As I expected, Grimmsnarl tried to pick up the kill with a Sucker Punch, but I didn't attack with Sinistcha, as Ogerpon goes for a Leech Seed on Hydrapple, which works because it is no longer a Grass type. Matcha can then go for a Strength Up into the high base attack stat Grimmsnarl to recover all of its health, as Terra boosted Terra Blast from Hydrapple takes Ogerpon down to her sturdy. Now that Sinistcha is at full health, I can go for a Rage Powder, redirecting the Spirit Break, which doesn't do much, and the Terra Blast that doesn't even affect, as Ogerpon connects with another Leech Seed, this time into Grimmsnarl. Not wanting to risk Sinistcha, I went for a Spiky Shield with Ogerpon to keep her safe and heal more with Leech Seed, but Grimmsnarl sets up a Light Screen this time. Since I'm not missing that much health, I decided to Strength Up Hydrapple this time around to go back to full health and be protected by the Focus Sash again, as he just goes for a Terra Blast into the protected Ogerpon. This next turn, I made a bit of a misplay, as I clicked the Spiky Shield with Ogerpon expecting another double up, but instead Grimmsnarl goes for Sucker Punch, this time into Matcha, who was going to use Matcha Gacha. Thankfully, not even a crit would have killed, but Matcha Gacha does basically nothing, and doesn't get a burn, nor does it even heal that much at all. Luckily, Hydrapple went for a Terra Blast and not any other attack onto Sinistcha. A final Rage Powder attracts a Sucker Punch, as Ogerpon finished the barely alive Hydrapple with a Play Rough. because I had literally nothing else. Then he can swap in Meowscarada in Sinister's slot as a final play rough takes down Grimmsnarl. And with that, Champion Kieran is defeated, has a mental breakdown, yet another descent into madness, and people really did not give a damn about him after his defeat. But the worst one was Drayton. Hey Drayton, I know I'm the first one that bullies him a lot, but that was actually fucked up. What the f is wrong with you, dude? The ex-champion's sarcastic comment literally seconds after he just lost his title is uncalled for. Okay, Miss Briar. Read the f***ing room. Do you really think this is an appropriate moment for that? McGay looks like he's about to jump off a building.
Oh my god! Oh jeez, oh my god!
To summarize, we're basically going to Area 0 to find a way to stop the past Paradox Pokémon brought here by the now decomposed Professor, but Briar has her own agenda of finding the legendary Pokémon Terapagos. This plot is basically ripped straight out of One Piece. We have to go down an area that people don't even believe existed, to look for a hidden mythical treasure to prove that her late great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather or something was not a pathological liar. Then you even have to fight 4 guardians and some sort of deity. It's insane how close it actually is. Also, Geeta once again leaves the fate of the region in the hands of a couple of children. Classic Pokémon. Is that a red flag? Crimson. How tense are you? Jump down. End it all. The locks that we disabled back when we came here with Nemona and the others are now back, so we had to make our way through somehow. Luckily, I brought this disc that I used to hack my Wii, so we were able to continue. You know, all this exploring to find the secret entrance to the deeper caverns of Area 0 really feels empty when there's a fucking elevator to go down there already. Also, when they said that Terapagos was inside some crystal to slumber peacefully, I expected him to be completely surrounded by crystals, not in one like 1 inch deep. I have no snarky comment about Kieran here. I just find funny how he struggles to get the crystal out and felt like putting it in the video for the funnies. Kieran has a really sad existence. Not only does he drop the crystal the perfect way so when Terapagos wakes up, the first thing that he sees is us, the protagonist. He immediately shows interest in us. Like, I know I dunk on him a lot, but holy shit. He would have caught him anyways with the Master Ball, but the fact that even a half-asleep turtle that has been sleeping for thousands of years showed interest in a random guy in front of him over the guy that awoken him in the first place must hurt that ego a lot, as if that thing wasn't hanging on the thinnest string imaginable already. The fight against Stellar Terapagos was long, arduous, cheesy, and really long. I started the fight with Chestnut expecting to do a lot with a close combat to Terapagos, which is a normal type, you know, but the game proved me wrong fairly quickly. So, time for plan B. It's not time for brute force, it's time for a lot of cheese. I swapped into Deepling with an Evilite equipped, which is bulkier than Hydrapple, and she tanked the Terra Starstorm pretty well. Next turn, Ascent Headbutt does nothing as I go for a recover. A single target Terra Starstorm the next turn doesn't take enough for a crit 1 to KO, and I went for Infestation. In this fight, Terapagos is immune to most form of status like Leech Seed or Toxic, but not indirect effects like the damage every turn of Infestation. This way, I can slowly take away his shield without terastallizing, avoiding the super effective Stellar Starstorm, and keeping myself alive with Recover and Protect, while stalling out the first and second shields, just barely by the time I ran out of Recover PP. The third shield goes up and Terapagos changes to a water type, meaning that I can smack him hard with my Pokemon now. But also Kieran joins the battle with his Hydrapple, and we have this cute moment where we had Hydrapple and Deepling beside each other like a family. Unfortunately, Deepling just doesn't hit hard enough with Giga Drain. In fact, he kinda doesn't hit at all. So after using Infestation again after it ends, I protect one final turn to rack up some more damage, and Hydrapple hits a double power Fickle Beam, which, aside from looking sick, does a ton of damage, although he does go down to a Terra Starstorm. Kieran brings in Dragonite and I swap into Ogerpon. Dragonite hits a pretty nasty critical hit Thunder that also happens to paralyze Terapagos, and Terapagos also gets fully paralyzed. Then a crit heavy cudgel of my own barely lifts Terapagos' shield up, and Dragonite misses his Thunder, so a Terra Starstorm takes around a quarter from Ogerpon. A Hornleech breaks the shield, and then a combination of an Ivy Cudgel and another crit Thunder takes down Terapagos, and finish this long battle. And with that, I want a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon Scarlet, the Indigo disc with grass types only, and deathless. Kind of. Or that's what I would say, if it wasn't for the 2 secret fights that I also want to do. First is a rematch against the top Champion Geeta, and it seems that we have successfully bullied Game Freak hard enough to change her team around. She no longer sounds Go-Go than Medusa, and instead has Chestnut and Dragapult, but more importantly, as so many people want it, Glimora is now her lead, and King Gambit her ace. Unfortunately, this fight isn't particularly hard due to the lack of held items and it being a single battle. As I said before, she starts with Glimora, so I send in Toadskrull, who can outspeed and one-shot her with a single earth power, and since Toxic Debris only activates on physical moves, I don't have to deal with Toxic Spikes. Next is Avalok, but by using Grass Knot, I can take over half her HP, as an Avalanche leaves Toadskrull on 1 thanks to a health focus sash, allowing Toadskrull to finish her with another Grass Knot. Next is Spathra, so I swap into Brute Bonnet, who is immune to the incoming Lumina Crash and can pick up the KO with a priority Sucker Punch thanks to a pair of health black glasses. For Chestnut is a switch into Tropius, who takes nothing from Drain Punch, and what an Air Slash does to this grass and fighting Pokemon doesn't need an explanation. Dragapult is next, so I protect to scout what it goes for, and as I expected, it was Shadow Ball, because the AI does not take into account the power of all hits of a multi-hit move, only the first one, so Dragon Darts is 50 base power versus Shadow Ball's 80. This gives me a safe switch into Brute Bonnet again, who tanks the Shadow Ball. Now I can bring in Whimsicott, who is immune to Dragon Darts, and can go for a priority Anchor to lock Dragapult into using a move that doesn't even affect, then Moonblast twice to take Dragapult out. Last is King Gambit, who terrestrializes into a flying type, but since Whimsicott baits Iron Head, it gives me a safe switch into Rotom, who still takes a lot even from my resisted Iron Head. Now I can go for a Ball switch that does over half, and allows me to bring in Ogerpon, who thanks to Sturdy is never in range of a KO, even from a crit cutout cliff. She then can outspeed and put an end to this battle with an Ivy Cudgel. For defeating her, I received the Elite Gloves, which unfortunately are like the black ones delete for half, not like her blue ones that I wanted. Unfortunate. And now for real, it is time for the secret final boss of the DLC, Blueberry Academy's own director, Cyrano. This one is a double battle and with held items, so the difficulty is back up again. It is with a Mandibas and Zebstrika, and I start with Meowscarada and Ogerpon. First I go for a Blink with Meowscarada against Zebstrika, and due to his equipped King's Rock, it flinches Zebstrika, as Ogerpon goes for a Taunt, sadly into Mandibas' Protect. The next turn, I switch things around and go for a Taunt with Meowscarada, this time hitting Mandibas, as Zebstrika hits a Flame Charge on Meowscarada, but it wouldn't even kill with a crit. Ogerpon then hits an Ivy Cudgel that leaves Zebstrika in the red, as Mandibas fails to use a Toxic. Due to the Flame Charge, Zebstrika is now faster than Meowscarada, but that is why I have Sucker Punch, allowing me to pick up the KO first, while Ogerpon hits an Ivy Cudgel on Mandibas for a chunk, and the latter only retaliates with a soft Snarl. In comes Samurott, but after terastallizing, a Terra boosted Flower Trick from Meowscarada one-shots her. Another Ivy Cudgel leaves Mandibas in the yellow, activating her held Citrus Berry, but another Snarl still does nothing, but she shook off the Taunt. I tried to go for Taunt again with Meowscarada, but Mandibas went for Protect, as an Ivy Cudgel decimates Ember even at full health. Gothitelle is next, but she goes down to a double up from Meowscarada's Flower Trick and an Ivy Cudgel from Ogerpon, while Mandibas is still forced to keep using Snarl. Last is his Ace Serperior, who hit Terrestrialize into a Rock type. After so many Snarls, Meowscarada is finally in danger of being KO'd, so I swap into Luricolo and use the Spiky Shield with Ogerpon, as Serperior's Leaf Storm hits Ogerpon's Protect. Now I can go for a Fake Out into Serperior, since she outspeeds Ogerpon, and then an Ivy Cudgel for the kill. A final Ivy Cudgel into an Ice Beam makes Mandibas finally go down, and with that is the true end of the Indigo disc, and as a reward, a shiny Blitzle. I can't use that. This is literally worthless to me, Director. What the well, that was honestly harder than I expected. I did imagine that the second part would pick up the pace and increase the difficulty, but not this much honestly. The trainers here have full teams, all with good held items, nice strategies, fully AB'd Pokemon, and are double battles. I wish Pokemon was more like this, and honestly, that the main story was a little longer. There are very few battles, and while hard, it feels rushed that you jump straight into the Elite Four battles. That being said, this DLC seems to focus more on adding things to do for the post-game, with all the special coaches, legendaries, and unlockable content. As always, if you enjoyed the video, click the subscribe button, it helps a lot. Same thing with leaving a like and a comment. I like pointless imaginary numbers going up. It's good for my ego, and I like to hear your opinions and comments as well. My name is Sora, and I'll see you in the next one. And with that, this run should be done, and I shouldn't need to upload a third Motherfucker!